You know what time it is. Everybody round up, roll call, get in here right now. Get in here right now. We have so much to talk about. Derrick White, game winner, buzzer beater, saves the Celtics season. Jimmy Butler, from where the dog go to the dog is here, ice water in his veins. Bam Adebayo, all points bulletin. Everybody's looking for him right now. The Miami Heat are one game away from becoming the first team in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead. The Boston Celtics won 3 straight games, and they're now going home for Game 7.
White will inbound. It's off to Smart for the 7th game. Could have been tipped in, but the buzzer sounded. The light was on. It'll be reviewed.
You have to protect the offensive rebounding.
Oh, he got rid of it.
He sure
That's a
did.
Celtic win, and we're going
the Celtics,
to Game 7.
The Celtics are going to win. There's a Game 7 back in Boston.
Ruling on the floor is good basket. The play's under review.
White.
Guys, what a phenomenal game of basketball. Game of the year candidate and game of the year winner. There's no need for further debate. This is playoff basketball. This was Boston Celtics basketball, and this was Miami Heat basketball. The amazing game. The Celtics win 104-103. Derrick White hits the game-winning shot as time expires. We were on the over for Derrick White of 14.5 points, and he didn't cash it, but he came up with the 2 biggest games of the week, the month, of the entire season for the Celtics. What a phenomenal game. And it started out with a welcome return of Gabe Vincent to the Miami Heat starting lineup. They were really struggling without him. The Celtics were able to increase their ball pressure so much because the Heat didn't have a bunch of great ball handlers without him in the lineup. Their defensive rotations were also a little bit off, and they're already a thin team. And obviously losing him, they hurt that even more. And we saw Kyle Lowry pretty disappointing once again. So it's very good for the Heat to have him back. For the Celtics, they started off hot. They were attacking early. The Heat, for a long time, the Heat's only lead of the game was at 11-9. From that point on, pedal to the metal for the Celtics. Jason Tatum was in attack mode from the start. He was hunting Jimmy Butler. He wasn't just scoring on him. No. That's too easy. He was hunting him. He was being relentless with Butler. And Butler, who's regarded as one of the 2 best players in the game, the most mentally tough and resilient player in the game, he was not having any of Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum was smoking him. Tatum had 25 points in the first half. He didn't finish with that as many as you might think, but he was absolutely their offense in the first half. Jaylen Brown, a great return to form from him. He'd been struggling to shoot the ball for most of the series, but he was very efficient, finding his shot, making long-range shots, making contested shots at the rim. Super good game from Jaylen Brown. The Celtics go into halftime with a lead, and they come out in the third quarter, and they go up double digits. And you're thinking, we haven't really seen much from the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler, we don't know where he's at. We're looking for him. He's just not out on the court today. Bam Adebayo, we know he's there because the Heat's whole game plan is throw it to Bam in the post and then run everything off of that. But that wasn't working. He was a turnover machine waiting to happen. Couldn't find the right passes. Couldn't finish near the rim. He couldn't hit it mid-range. He couldn't do anything right in this game. Now, all I can give Jimmy and Bam, and I shouldn't say all because it's important, but they were fighting at least on defense and on the glass. Now, Jimmy wasn't great on defense, but he was trying. They were definitely trying on the glass. They were battling constantly for offensive rebounds. But late in that third quarter, early fourth quarter, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Jimmy Butler was scared. He didn't want to go into the rim. Every time, it was the end of the third quarter, I think, where the Heat are in transition. Butler is in a situation where he's in a 2-on-2. He has a full head of steam going downhill against a smaller defender, and he stops. He pivots, turns around, and dumps it to Kyle Lowry, who's standing an inch from him with Robert Williams closing down on him. That's how scared he was. He would go into the rim or into the painted area, and he wouldn't even look at the rim. He would only be looking to pass. There was a situation where he could have gotten shooting foul and gotten 2 free throws out of it, but he wasn't even looking in the direction of the hoop when he passed the ball, when the contact was made. He was genuinely terrified. And he was 3 of 19 from the field at one point. So maybe he had a right to be. But this is Jimmy Butler. This is a guy who the whole discourse surrounding him is he has that dog in him. Is Jimmy Butler a Hall of Famer? It's been a hot topic lately. I think there's certainly a case that can be made for it. But a lot of it hinges on not becoming the first player on the first team to blow a 3-0 lead in the league's coveted history. Just an amazing game, guys. There was so much drama. I mean, we had the players going back and forth with one another, Jaylen Brown and Kyle Lowry. We had, not that this is great, but we had a couple of injuries. Robert Williams goes to the locker room with a hand injury. He comes back. One player who did not feature in this game, the reigning sixth man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon. His minutes had decreased in every game in the series, as had his points total, his scoring total. And tonight, unfortunately, he wasn't able to go. He's dealing with a torn ligament connecting to something in his forearm. Don't know the exact details, but I can imagine if you can't use your forearm, it's going to be pretty hard to shoot a basketball. So prayers out to Malcolm Brogdon. If the Celtics make the finals, really hope he's able to get back out there. Would love to see him in Game 7 too, but I'm not totally sure that that's going to happen. Now, on the other side, Tyler Hero. He went through warm-ups. He looked decent. Obviously, he still got his lateral quickness, his stamina, and all that stuff because it was an injury to his hand. You know, I'm sure he's been running on the elliptical, the bike, whatever the case is. They got him in the aqua jogging, in the swimming pool, whatever it is. He's been staying in shape. Do you put Tyler Hero out there? It's just about a month or so, maybe even less from when he broke 2 fingers. I don't know. I don't honestly know. I didn't think that the Heat needed Hero to win this series, and I'm still not fully convinced they do. But there were moments where you want your star to step up. And the role players, the Miami role players, you can't ask for anything better than what they gave you. I'm starting a new trend here, or a new structure. I'm saving my player reviews and ratings for the end of the game. But let's go ahead and just talk about some of the Heat role players. Caleb Martin, 21 points, 15 rebounds. The guy is balling out of his mind every time that he gets the chance. And he got a lot of chances tonight because Kevin Love did not play and Martin played 41 minutes. Gabe Vincent, coming back from an ankle injury that held him out of the last game, he gives you 15 points. Now, he was only 6 of 18 from the field, but it felt a lot more efficient than that, largely because he was 3 of 6 from the three-point line. He was the one who was creating a lot of stuff off the dribble, especially when Bam and Jimmy just looked like they didn't want to be out there. Max Strus, 10 points, 2 of 5 from 3. Not the most minutes, so it was a good game from him. Duncan Robinson, 15 points. Now, he missed. This is going to be controversial. I still think Duncan Robinson had a really good game. 15 points, 3-6 from 3, 5-11 from the field. Had some good downhill movements, couple of assists. Duncan Robinson has definitely been a net positive for this team. You can't argue that he hasn't been. But he missed a game-tying 3 with just about a minute left, and then he missed a go-ahead 3 with about 30 seconds left. Now, this is where the game gets really interesting. So let's dive into the meat and the bones here. The Celtics are up. It should have been their game. They threw it away. They let the Heat take the lead in the fourth quarter. And as soon as that happened, the Heat find a way to go back down 10 points themselves because being down 10 is apparently their comfort zone. That's when they win 70% of their games in the playoffs. The Heat come roaring back. And it wasn't because Butler was making his shots. He made 4 free throws, or maybe it was 3. I know he went to the line for 4 of them. I can't remember in which sequence he missed them, but they got some other looks. Duncan Robinson, the guy I was just talking about, hit a huge 3, and they're right there. And now the Celtics are up 2. The Miami Heat have the ball with about 10, 12 seconds left. They come down court. Eric Spoelstra asks Jimmy Butler, do you want the ball? He says, I'm Jimmy Butler. Give me the damn ball. So Jimmy Butler, on the back of a historically awful shooting night. And this is the final play of the game. He's 5 of 21 from the field. He goes into his motion, runs over to the right side, gets a switch onto Al Horford. Looks like he's going for a step back 3, but Horford has it smothered. He leans in a little bit, just not enough to flop or anything like that, but he changes the angle, goes up for the shot, and Horford fouls him. Now, with just 3 seconds left on the clock, Jimmy Butler has 2 free throws to tie the game. The Celtics call a challenge, and it was plain as day that Horford fouled him. And Joe Mazzulla, I've got to hold my hands up. I haven't said his name because stupid is as stupid does, and I've been waiting for him to make mistakes. But I don't want to take anything away from him. The last 2 or 3 games, he has been much improved as a coach. Made a lot smarter decisions, tightened the rotation, and altered it slightly as well. Altered the game plan on both sides of the ball. Been a lot better with his timeouts. He's been better. But this was plain as day. It was a foul. And now maybe it's not Mazzulla's fault. Maybe he was given bad information from the bench because normally they're the ones who handle that type of stuff. But Mazzulla calls the challenge, and it bites them in the butt because it was only a 2-shot foul, which would have given Jimmy the opportunity, not a guarantee, but the opportunity to tie the game. Instead, because he calls the challenge, the refs go to review it, and they find out, you know what? It is a foul just like we thought. but it's actually a 3-shot foul. So with 3 seconds left, you have just gift wrapped the Miami Heat an opportunity to steal the game that you already threw, and then they threw it back to you, and then you threw it again. And you doubly threw it because they should have only been shooting 2 shots. You should have known it was a foul. And also, part of that goes on to Al Horford for complaining. Al, you're 37 years old. You've been in the league since the 1950s. You know you fouled him. Don't run around. The Celtics make me mad with this too, because the Celtics, they're always doing this. Every time they don't like a call, they're asking for a review. Guys, just shut up and play basketball, please. And Al Horford, you can't throw your coach under the bus like that. You know you fouled him. You clobbered him. So Jimmy steps to the line. Again, 5 of 21 from the field at this point. He steps up, rattles the first one in. Second one, butter. Third one, butter. Miami Heat up 1 in a game that they should have never won. Never. The Celtics should have been up 30 points in the first half because of how bad Jimmy and Bam were. But the Heat's role players were so outstanding that they couldn't pull away. Now, all of a sudden, Celtics call a timeout. They're inbounding it from just inside half court on the opposite side. They throw it into Marcus Smart, who's been a bit of a sharpshooter in the last 6 quarters of basketball, despite struggling so hard early on. Smart wildly and very quickly pivots ahead of time, just launches a shot. He had way more time than he took. And believe it or not, the shot was halfway in and it bounced out. But Derrick White comes soaring in for the offensive rebound, and he puts it back up in one motion, lets it go with 0.1 seconds left. Buzzer goes off, ball banks off the backboard in. The Celtics win by 1 point, and they go back to Boston Garden, TD Garden, for Game 7. Now, whose fault was that? What is the number one rule of late game situations? Of all inbounds plays, but especially late in games, someone has to take the inbounder. And Derrick White, he's a dangerous inbounder. He can make threes. He can drive to the rim. He can rebound. He can do all sorts of stuff for this team. Max Strus, he was in charge of guarding him. He has his back turned to him. He's sort of guarding the zone right in front of Derrick White, now looking at him. He's reaching out, but he's not really helping anything. He's not affecting anything. There was no pass for him to disturb. And then once the ball goes in, he fails to get back on White in time. He has no idea what's going on. White goes up uncontested for the rebound. There's nobody there to box him out because everybody else, at this point, there's no zonal rebounding. You're just boxing out your man. But because Strus was late to get on to Derrick White, there's nobody there to box him out. He gets the game-winning layup. It was an amazing play by Derrick White. It's what you expect from a savvy guy like that who proves his worth every time that he's taken the court. We are going back to Boston, and the odds makers, man, death, taxes, and the Boston Celtics being favored by 8 to 9 points at home. They are 8.5 points favorites for Game 7. And here we go, the long-awaited pick. I was on fire for the first 3 or so rounds of these playoffs. We're in round 3, but at the end of it, I was on fire for most of them. And now I can't get a game right. I'm like 1-8 in my last 9 picks. Some of those prop bets, and I'm not, you guys know this. I'm not a huge prop better. I'm like my game lines a lot more. But I'll tell you what, for the 6th time in this series, we are going with the Heat on the spread. And I took the Heat on the money line tonight. If I took them on the spread, they would have covered. Oh, it stinks to be me. Woe is me. But I'm taking the Heat to cover. Not going to take them on the money line. You want my honest opinion on who's going to win this game? I have no idea. This has been so topsy-turvy. Only 3 other times in NBA history has a team down 0-3 come back to force a Game 7. It hasn't happened since the Mavericks and the Blazers in 0-3, I believe. It's either 0-3 or 0-4. Obviously, we are waiting to find out if we're going to get our first ever 0-3 comeback winner in Game 7. Celtics, I'm going to say most teams, I haven't looked it up. I'm going to assume actually none of the 3 teams that have made those comebacks have had home court in Game 7. The Celtics have home court. They're favored by 8.5 points. We're riding with the Heat at plus 8.5. Jimmy Butler, it's got to be now. It's got to be now, because if you lose this game, Jimmy, if you lose this game, all the discourse about you having that dog in you, it's over for the rest of your career. And I'm being deadly serious. I don't like holding athletes to prisoner of moment situations and locking them into stereotypes that they can never escape. And do I think Jimmy Butler has been that guy in the clutch moments in his career, especially in the last 4 years, ever since he moved to Miami? 1,000%. But considering what you did in this game, I know you made the free throws, but 5 of 21 from the field, haven't been good in most of these games before. At least it's not as good as you need to be. If you lose an 0-3 lead, a 3-0 lead, it's over for you, Jimmy. This was going to be one of the best game sevens in my mind that we have seen in a long time, and how fitting it's between two teams that have played each other in 3 of the last 4 Eastern Conference Finals. Guys, that is going to do it for my analysis and my reaction to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. If you enjoyed it, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. So excited. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Drop a like on the video. And guys, by the way, I have a very, very big project coming out soon. We're talking about, I'm making a little mini documentary, and I'm going to appreciate your support on that. So make sure you are tuned in for that. I will see you guys all right after the game. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until I see you next time, have a great day.